up earlier and earlier in the months with the time.
Do you know what, I miss being part of it, but I remember when we started, like 40 of us. And it was like, for the first time I felt like, oh my god, I'm with people who actually want to be bartenders. Because even in my course, when I was taking it to school, there wasn't that many people who wanted to be a waiter or be a bartender. But yeah, still. Right, the story of the shakers. So you know that shaker, obviously, which is Dirty Martini.
I heard about it.
This shaker, I think I got it, I'm pretty sure it's here in the UK. And you know how we are in Portugal, we like our wine. So I got it like, it was really nice. And now I even bought another one and offered it to the teacher, who was kind of my mentor.
Okay.
This one, I remember seeing it on eBay and I just really liked it. I never used it, but it was like a really nice shaker.
Yeah, it's interesting.
Yeah, this one was just a pretty one I saw. This one came with this kit I bought. That was my first bottle of Ace of Spades that I sold. But yeah, I did have more. I had this James Bond shaker. It was such a really cool shaker.
James Bond?
James Bond shaker. And do you remember when I was living in Wood Green?
Yeah.
With the girls. So I had the shaker there, but I can't find it. But I remember Daniela, she used to always drink in her bedroom with like a shaker.
With the shaker, so maybe ask, maybe she'll find it around the house.
Not to mention any names, but definitely. But yeah, well, Athos, thank you very much for joining me.
Thank you.
How we got this started.
My big pleasure. Cheers.
Cheers. And thanks for bringing the alcohol as well.
Always prepared.
It's like, I thought you brought a full bottle and you just drank it on your way on this.
No. No drink driving.
So, bartender, you're a bar back, manager, private events, you still do your flaring.
It's just
and then you still have your day job. That's what I love.
It's just a good life. In the end, I started when I was 15, 16, working in bars and doing a bit of everything. Then I focused on the bar after being a waiter for 2 years. I enjoyed it a lot, and I just kept doing what I liked and travel, came to London, met new people, just had the opportunity to go to management. I did it. Not because I particularly like management, but just for the experience, because I like the industry, and the more you get to understand of it, the easier it makes your life when you're working, and the easier is your work, then the less it feels like you're working in the end.
That's true. Like, you know, I've worked with a lot of managers that mainly in probably, because if you do like just a specific bar, like say in hotels, I've worked in hotels that the kind of managers there that have to worry about the bar, the restaurant, like the kitchen, they don't really, when they need to help out, they don't really understand what they need to help out.
Yeah.
They understand the numbers, but look, that could be because they haven't worked a long time. But yeah, a lot of them that were just like a waiter and then became a manager and had to worry about the bar.
But they don't have the strength to take care of a bar team, especially when you have sometimes bartenders, they are more experienced about you. It's hard to manage staff that has more experience than you, so that's a big issue that is in hospitality, especially now.
And to be honest, what's really funny as well is a lot of like you, it's like me, we started as waiters and then we moved to the bar. But funny thing is, you don't really have a lot of bartenders that move into waiters. Now, waiters do get more money because of the tips, but when they're serving the tables, they just see the bartenders there having all the fun while they just have to serve. I think that's what moves them back. Moves them to the bar.
I was talking about this yesterday with my flatmate, and we realized, as a waiter, maybe you can make more tips even.
Oh yeah, easily, yeah.
But for example, when people is at the table, they're having their private time, they're kind of sitting down and like having their chats or whatever. You don't want to kind of go there and interrupt. You don't have that interaction. It's not like on the bar when you have that moment. You have two people at the bar that maybe they're not talking in that second, and you're there and you're not busy, and you just start a conversation with them because you're just there hanging around on the bar. You just give them conversation. You just don't go and sit down next to a table and like, okay guys, so what's your name? Where are you from? No, they're having dinner. You just let them do their thing. So the bar is kind of more interaction with the guests.
It's a lot more social, and to be honest, even like with the whole staff, like all the staff will go to the bar. I mean, they always say to me like the bartender's like the gentleman in hospitality, but let's say you have like a really quiet day, there's nothing to do. You go to the bar because the bartenders, they're always entertaining, they're fun, like
they always give you a
that would keep it exciting. Like the most fun I've had in hospitality was always as a bartender, even as a bar back.
Even as a bar back, granted.
There was probably a few weeks ago. So I was a manager, but they needed me to go behind the bar. I'm like, It's like when Superman takes his cape off. It's like, let's do it. So I go behind the bar and I'm like, I don't realise how happy I am. And I have like 4 bartenders there. And you know, not saying they're not good, they're still new. And they was really busy, they needed help. And they still getting to learn the bartender personality. So I go behind the bar and I'm always talking. I'm like, okay, you go get ice, all right, you. After you stop scratching your head knowing what goes inside the mojito, give me like a few rock club. And everyone's laughing and they're working, they're having a good time. And then after that, it calmed down. And I went to all the bartenders, like, guys, did you have fun in these 20 minutes I was here? They're like, yeah, it was really fun. See how much we've done? Yeah, look at the bar. Station's clean, the bottles look good, your garnishes are refilled, restock is done, and you all had fun doing this. And then it's the same thing as like when we used to do our shifts, and you know, we worked together, that tough shifts like Saturdays, you know, and then all of a sudden you're really tired. It's like 2 a.m, you're really tired, all of a sudden you get someone, are you going to be at 1 tonight? And I'm like,
well, yeah,
of course, we
let's
gotta go.
Let's go. Work hard and play hard.
Yeah.
In the end, especially after those days when you really have not a hard time, because in the end we enjoy it, but it's super intense. All you want when you finish is just go drink, and not just drink a beer inside the venue with your team. Yeah, that's lovely. It just builds up like the team feeling, and it's nice. But you literally, after 15 hours, 18 hours working, you just want to go and get smashed and just do the same that every guest that you served until then has been doing.
You know, I remember a shift. Now this was probably one of the hardest ones I've done. So I can't remember what time I started on a Saturday. I'm pretty sure this was on a Saturday. I think I started at like 5 or 6. And I closed, so I finished at like 4 or 5 in the morning. And then I had to come into work to open.
The day after.
So, but I know I came in at like 9 or 10, because I think the bar was opening from 12. So I remember I got home, it took me a while to get home, I showered and I ate something, and then I sat on my chair just with headphones, like, I might not sleep, but when the alarm goes on, I know I have to go and power through.
Yeah.
So I remember closing my eyes, and all of a sudden the alarm hits and I'm like, okay, great. Cool, so I go to work, and then we were busier than we expected. So I had the bartenders behind the bar, and then I was just really running the drinks to the tables. And it was just like, okay, just keep doing it. And I was tired, but you know, energy drinks help out a lot. And I remember the bartenders were like, they were just on it. They were just like, I was just putting stuff through, and all I had to do was the transporter, just take it to the tables.
The transport.
And then I remember we were doing that, and then it came like 8 o'clock, and then we were still busy. And then 10 o'clock, I finished. And I was quite tired, and I had a drink. And I was with 2 friends of mine, and I was like, fuck me, that was a long shift, but that was fun. And we're going to Fabric tonight, actually, do you want to come? And I'm like, man. And then I actually went to Fabric.
Yeah, because you say no, but then you have that first drink, and that first drink just turns you on fire. Yeah. You just want to just...
I remember I had a great time in Fabric, but I remember it was 6 in the morning, I was waiting for an Uber, and I was just like, you know when you're really drunk against the wall, you just start banging into it. And then I just slept like 14 hours the next day.
Hibernation, bartender hibernation, classic.
Yeah, it's like those Sundays, man.
Yeah, especially when you finish like super late nights and you get home at 6 in the morning. You have a day off, but it's really a wasted day off. All you do is sleep, and then you wake up and it's like 6, 7 p.m. and all you can do is like have some food, do something a couple hours, and then you either stay awake and just destroy your sleep schedule, and then the day after you're gonna have to sleep 3-4 hours before you go to work, or just go back to sleep again and sleep another 8 hours and wake up early in the morning. So in the end you just waste your whole day off.
Yeah, it's kind of like you just charge your batteries for that day.
Yeah.
But when we're bartending on a Saturday, what's your favourite shift to do on a Saturday?
On a Saturday, that's very interesting. I used to enjoy brunch a lot. That was one of the funniest part. I had a period at some point in like 3-4 months straight was just like Friday, brunch. Saturday, Sunday brunch non-stop, because you come in the morning early, you prepare everything, you get the busy time. But if you have a nice team, someone like they enjoy working with you, do those 6 hours of madness. 6 p.m. wash your hands, make sure that all your colleagues are ready to go for the evening. You go home. You have the evening off, and that was beautiful.
Yeah.
But then I started missing the energy
The
of
late
the
night.
bar of the late
Yeah.
night. Is when it's the chaos, when you have like 3-4 deep and you're just making tickets and drinks for everyone at the same time. Is
Yeah, that's one thing a lot. I think my favorite thing was when we do like after happy hour. You have the quiet period, but no matter where you are, at 10 o'clock it starts building up. And my favorite thing, it's like when there's not that much happy hour, you're not doing that many cocktails, so it'll be spirit mixers. But you know when you just have the right amount of people that want to order, and you got a great team because your bar back is always there, washing glasses, restocking, your station's fine. And then you're just serving and charging people, and you get kind of like like an ecstasy feeling. You're just in the zone.
adrenaline.
Yeah, you're just in the zone, and then all of a sudden you guys stop. So all of a sudden someone orders 15 Jaeger bombs.
Wow.
Like I remember it was like 12 or 15 Jaeger bombs. We worked
Yeah,
the shift together.
something like that. Yeah,
Yeah,
I think
I'll see if I can
there's a
actually
video
post
around
it.
experience.
Yeah, man, I met some weird people in EBS. Like,
Yeah,
I had
EBS
this guy used to literally when you go on that little lunch break.
Yeah.
This guy, like some people we know, they'll go eat food. He used to like just get a lemon and peel it and just eat it like if it was an orange.
Wow.
So, and when he had his margaritas, like they were talking about us about the sweet and sour mixture, he's like, no, not even a dash of sugar goes in any of my cocktails. Like
Nothing.
Yeah.
And he just like soured it.
Yeah. I mean, that's the thing with margaritas as well. It's like usually in America they have it more with like sugar syrup.
Or agave, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Tommy's margarita is really nice, man.
I'm doing a lot. I mean, that's why this bottle is empty. A lot of mezcal margaritas
Yeah.
at home.
Well, thanks a lot for bringing the mezcal, man.
Cheers.
Beep, boop, boop. So another thing is when I'm sick, you know what I usually do? I go home and I see what I got. And I remember I had like whiskey and Angostura bitters. And I'm like, yeah, Angostura bitter was a medicine back in the day, right?
Yes.
Yeah, just make an old
Let's
stash
go
and
for
I
it.
feel better. But to be honest, I think when I used to be in my teens, when I was sick, I remember my dad used to like make me a tea and he'd put a bit of whiskey.
Yeah.
And that helps so much.
Shot of whiskey,
Yeah.
classic.
Like, okay, if you're drinking every day, it's not healthy, but if you, once in a while, it is very healthy.
Once in a while with a reason, yeah.
Yeah,
As we say in Italy, glass a day keeps the doctor away.
that's true,
Something
man.
like that.
But yeah.
There's a saying like very similar in English, no?
Yeah,
It's
glass
like
a
the
day.
same. Yeah, it's the
Well,
same.
here they say an apple a day.
An apple a day.
Yeah.
No, for us it's a glass of
A
wine.
carbonara a day keeps the doctor away. Nah, but I mean, yeah, it's good. But one thing I've realised, it's not, I mean, it depends on the people, but I could go like without drinking for a long time. Sometimes, you know, when you're off and you just don't want to go,
Yeah.
you don't feel that need to drink.
Very long
Yeah.
time, but at the same time,
We can go
I don't feel the need to. Like, for me, drinking is it's not like for most people that they go out drinking to celebrate something, or
Yeah.
maybe they had a bad news and they're like, oh, I just want to forget about it and go drink something. For me, it's just eating, because I don't drink most of the time to get drunk. At this point, I'm just doing it for the flavor. I drink because I was like, I would like a glass of mezcal now. Maybe I want a long drink, something refreshing. I don't know. I could have an apple juice, but nice gin and tonic. I mean, it's not gonna get me drunk, and it's nice. It's just a habit, bad habit probably.
Well, but you can tell when you're drinking at home. 'Cause when you're drinking at home, like if you compare how much you drink when you go out to party, when you go on a nightclub, whatever, like I mean, depends on the day, but like for example,
Classic
I know I could drink
£200 spent on
Yeah,
a night in
no
shots.
problem, mate. That is absolutely no problem. That's a Monday for us.
Yeah, but that's the thing.
it
Then at
happens.
home you have 2 drinks.
Yeah. And I get it, you know, okay, when you drink, you know, your serotonin increases and you need to keep drinking for it to stay like that. But my thing is like, have I really regretted going out? Like maybe the day after, but once the hangover's gone away, you're like, you know what, it was actually
Yeah,
good.
it was worth it. It was good.
Man, how many stories like, I remember when we were working together, not in the same venue, but this was when it was COVID and we were starting to prepare everything before the opening.
Oh, yeah.
I think it started with, we had just a few beers in the park.
Yeah, it started.
Well, I know we didn't go somewhere else, but I think we just started drinking more. And then you went to the shop with someone, then we were in Trafalgar Square, you were flaring.
Yeah.
You done a very cool trick, which I'll probably put up here.
We made a video, yeah. It was
I'll see if I can post here, but yeah, no, that was bloody good. I was showing it yesterday to one of the securities that works in the
Yeah.
bar next door, and he's like, "Boy, that was really good." And he's like, "How many attempts?" And I was like, 7. But it's
Yeah,
not
something
because
like that.
it's not because
But we've been
I
drinking for
can't
like
throw it,
hours at
yeah.
that point. Yeah,
Nah, I remember when you called. I was like, "How can you catch it?" Like, it was so high, man.
yeah, no,
Yeah.
that was
But that's a good
hard
like,
one.
yeah. What got you motivated actually into flaring though?
It was a mixture of things. At the moment, I was in this kind of weird position. I was like a bartender slash waiter. You know, it's like
Yeah.
in Spain, in Portugal, they don't have that bartender figure. That
No,
you're the
no.
bartender, you stay behind the bar. No,
Like you help what's needed.
you're just
mate.
a slave. That's a table, there's plate, bring it over. Like there's people in the terrace, go take the order. You're on the bar, you make the gin and tonic. Like you just do everything at once, so it's not really a stable figure. And in my breaks or after work, I used to go to this tiny cocktail bar with this guy that was like had a lot of knowledge about mixologies, like foams and airs and like cold infusions, all of this stuff. So I would always be chatting with him about it. And he used to like flair and do a few moves and stuff. And when I saw it the first time, I was like, that's really cool. And he was like, well, if you think this is cool, like watch a few videos, this and that. So he showed me about Christian Delpech and this classic guys like
Going to
Tom
the
Dyer. I was like, does these people really like get paid to do this? Just to like play around? And it's like, yeah, they make like very good money out of it. It's like travel and do competitions and stuff. I was really interested in it, so I said, watch this movie. And now, pause a second. Everyone is gonna hate me about this, okay? It's
Go
like
for
the
it, go for it.
most mainstream reason ever for every flair bartender, but I started flaring because of Tom Cruise in the movie
The
Cocktail.
cocktail.
Yeah, because I saw it and I already was getting the idea of it's a fun life, you get to travel, you
Yeah.
get money, and it's not really that you doing a hard job. You know, you're not going with 4 cases of beer up the stairs.
So you think,
You're
yeah.
you're just playing around and you start thinking. And then I watched the movie and I was like, and girls like that? Why? And then I started learning, I started flaring slowly and go to the park every day, and I see the reaction of the people they see you from the other side, even when you do the smallest trick, because they don't know what you're doing in the end. So even if for you it's like, this is nothing, there is a guy that is way better than me. But then you realize for everyday's people, that's fucking impressive. So
Yeah, it is.
in the end, it just changed my life. It starts me getting so many connections. Like flair got to me. I was just in the park having fun and flaring, and the guys from the association, the regional association of bartenders, that then is associated to the national and then to the IBA, they just were in the park and saw us flaring, and they stopped the trio of me. Well, it was me, Ian, and Royer that was working together at the hotel and everything. And they stopped and said, we need to organize a competition of flair, but we need minimum 3 competitors. Are you guys up for it?
There you go.
And after being 3 months into flair, I did my regional competition. I won because of luck.
Oh,
Because
how many people were in the competition?
3. It was the
Still.
3 of us, but we start all together at the same time. It's like, you know, we learn everything together. It was just like 3 friends and just see like who has the better luck wins.
Yeah.
You know, I won by half a point. That's
Still.
that's for you to say how random would have been. And I went to the national, and when I went to the national, I really realized, okay, this is a very big world, and I'm just nowhere yet. And I don't know. I was in the national competition with Leo Galvez, fucking world champion of flair bartending, and the guys were super lovely. They give me the feeling of family, you know, everyone supportive, everyone like telling me to stay calm, to just go and enjoy myself, don't worry about the people watching. And that just motivated me to do more. And at some point I just left all my life and came to London just for that. And then they closed the Roadhouse.
Yeah. I remember the competitions were good. Even not just the flair competitions, just the cocktail competitions.
Yeah,
They could bang out
the
like 10
bartender
cocktails
challenge.
in 2-3 minutes.
The speed
Yeah.
round, yeah, that was good.
Mate, that was such fun. I remember I done EBS and they done one of those competitions. I can't remember what was the bar. I think it was somewhere near Brixton. and that's the first time I saw like this kind of vibe, like you know, like when you
The
watch-
old school yard.
yeah, old school, yeah,
Yeah,
that's the name of it.
that's the bar. I think Tom used
The
to
underground
live.
one, yeah. No, ours was an underground one.
No, the old school yard is not underground.
So probably wrong bar then.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I went, I can't remember the name though, I really can't. But I went and I see like 30, 40 bartenders. Everyone dressed like bartender, you know, the bartending beard. And then it looked like a rap battle, like, you know, when you see 8 Mile, and then you see this guy on the microphone announcing the competitions, like the motivation, the music. I see a flair competition, and like that really got me into that bar, like, world. And I was like, okay, this is
The
bloody awesome.
vibe. The energy.
And then again, like what you recognise, like each bartender has their own personality and what type of thing they like to do. So I always say, like when you start in a bar, you've got to kind of find a bar that you can learn how to do everything. And once you learn how to do everything, okay, what do I like more? Actually, I just want to make cocktails, so I'm going to work in a cocktail bar. Or actually, I just want to really have fun and go crazy, right? So I'm going to work in a nightclub.
High volume, yeah.
Yeah, or I want to make really like perfect 5-star cocktails. You know, you got all that to play for, and then you pick which one you like the most, and then all right, what's the next step? And like I say, you know, like we got into management, and you know, it's great. It is great. There's a lot of responsibilities, but then it gives you, for me, it gave me the most satisfaction of my job.
Yeah, and give you a way wider understanding of everything.
Yeah, and again, and the good thing as well, I think, with bartenders, especially before the pandemic, because before COVID, people didn't like table service. They like to go to the bar.
Just stay
And I used to
at the
love
bar.
it because I remember like they'd go, okay, porn star martini, and they'll be next to their friend, but they're watching you make the cocktail. They're not just talking them to their friend, they're watching you make the cocktail because there's that nice art, you know, you're shaking it.
Yeah, are
and,
entertained.
yeah, and one thing my friend recorded me make a cocktail, and this is when I realised it. Like, I used to watch these bartenders make cocktails, and they're so, it's like a robot, they're so perfect, everything they do is so good. And then you think only they can do it and you can't do it. But then I had a friend of mine record me make a cocktail. I was like, oh, I'm actually not that bad, to be honest.
Yeah, no,
Right.
you
Yeah.
don't realize it when you think about it, because for you it's your everyday job and
Yeah.
you do it like in a systematic way. But like there's that feeling like this can sound really bad, but it's not being cocky. It's just like to describe a feeling. But like, you know, when you're behind the bar and maybe you have like 2-3 people at the bar sitting like chatting between each other, and they're not looking at you.
Yeah.
And then you just bam, close the shaker and
shaking,
start
yeah.
shaking, and all of a sudden everyone just goes quiet and just go like, what the hell is going on? And they just turn their head because they hear ta 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 ta, and they just look at you and just start cheering up. It's like, yeah, or smiling or like making you signs. Like that gives you a kind of satisfaction.
massively,
That
yeah.
is one of the most beautiful in life. Doesn't really mean anything, because in the end you're just doing your job, you know. But
But I
It
mean,
kind
the
of makes
shaking
you
is
happy.
always good, but also like when people start recording you shake, it's
Yeah.
just quite interesting.
it's so personal as
Yeah.
well. Like everyone shakes in a so different way.
This happened to me in the Leandro last week.
Nice.
We were both behind a bar, and well, he was behind a bar, and then I had to see 4 shakers ready to shake.
Jump on it.
I was like, oh, yeah, you know what we're gonna do? So 2 shakers each. We start shaking, and then all of a sudden, and everyone's like looking, and then I was like, oh, they're recording, and I lost my shake. That my perfect shake. Used to have a really good shake, but you're the only one that I know who actually shakes with fucking blenders.
I mean,
How many cocktails do you put inside a blender?
15 to 20. Modern problems for modern solutions.
That's true, yeah.
That's what I have to say. I mean, in the end, what's a blender? It's a container
Oh, yeah,
with
that's
the
what you
lids,
need.
and instead of being 28 ounces like a normal shake, it's like 2 liters, 3 liters, 5 liters. It's just
Yeah. When I tried to
practical.
do my first cocktail and I didn't have a shaker, do you know what I used? I used like a glass and then ice and then like a chopping board. I put the
Put it
chopping
on
board on top and I just done it like that. Bit of spinach, but
Yeah,
yeah, that's
it
what you gotta
works.
do.
Yeah,
Yeah.
one time I remember I wanted to do espresso martinis. I had nothing even close to a shaker, and in the end we ended up emptying a liter of passata of tomato sauce. Empty the
That's the most
glass
Italian
bottle,
thing ever.
wash it out, just put the ice in, close the lid, and shake the bloody bottle. Be careful, but it
It's
worked.
true. Yeah,
It
like,
worked.
I used to do cocktail classes online, and okay, they get a kick with it, but
Oh, I remember that kit you're talking
Yeah.
about. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
but it's like I know people sometimes they think they could only have this in bars, but look, as long as you make the drink and you drink it once you're finished, like you can't pre-make drinks. Like that's the I hate that so much. Like you got to
Yeah.
make the drink on the spot. But I say to them, it's like, look, everyone loves a porn star martini. So how do I make the perfect one? And I said, well, you saw the one you done it today. He said, yeah, but I'd like to make that like at home. I said, well, you just done one at home. So, but when I go to your bar, you guys do this. And you use all the right things. Just the shaker's different.
Yeah.
You got your passion fruit. You got your vanilla vodka. You got your passion fruit
All the
liqueur.
ingredients, yeah.
You got the juice. It's like, oh, but what about sugar syrup? Just put sugar.
Yeah.
And then you just shake it hard. And then what my difference was when it came to shaking was when I was a restaurant bartender, I was like, okay, my shake's okay. And then I moved to a cocktail bar and I realized
And then
how
you
you need
realize-
to shake.
Especially with the left hand. That's I
Yeah.
think when you go high volume the first time in your life, and you find yourself in that situation where you have those 8 drinks, 4 in one shaker, 4 on the other
Yeah.
one, and you're confident with your right, and you're just like, yeah, it's heavy, but I have no issue with it. And then your left day just feels like in pain and very weird, wrong.
Yeah.
It just feels wrong. Even if you're shaking it, you're making it right. It just
It's
you're
like
not
stirring.
used to it.
It's like stirring
Yeah.
with your right hand, then all of a sudden you use the left hand, and you're like, you don't even know how to use that hand. One of my favorite things to know if a bartender's good with speed of service is the shaking and the stirring at the same time.
Yeah, using both hands at the same
Yeah.
time.
It's the multitasking.
That's one thing I started doing, and I realized that about 3 years into flair, I realized I was just focusing on one hand.
Oh.
So I just stopped like developing anything else. I just leveled up the other hand, and at the same time I realized that I got kind of the same routine in bartending. So I would always like keep the jigger on the left and pour with the right, or shake with the right, fine strain with the left, and then I started making notes of like how I do things and
Right.
forcing myself on shift as a bartender to swap.
Yeah.
So fine strain with the right and the strain on the left, and get comfortable with the tools with both hands. And now as a bartender, I feel like I'm probably twice as faster as I was 2 years ago.
Yeah, I've been doing management for too long, so I think I've lost my speed. But what I used to do when I realised, like for my free pouring, my left hand wouldn't be as good as my right. So I tried to do a lot more stuff with my left hand.
Mm-hmm.
So I started like tying up, put the watch on my left side. So every time I check the time, I used to brush my teeth with my left hand. So you used to always do these things, and then I saw a big improvement. But yeah, I mean, like with free pouring, if you only could free pour with one hand, it doesn't
Yeah,
count.
that's
It doesn't count.
That's the
You might as well just use
basics.
the jigger. But look, everyone has to get some with their free pouring. Like when I have bartenders that they want to know how to do their free pouring, I'm like, mate, here's a bottle, take this
And practice.
at home, the speed pourer, and you just practice, like anything, like you done with your
Then
flair.
some people is very bad at it, but
Yeah.
still, it's just practice.
Yeah.
Some
people are fast.
are just disgustingly fast. I remember
Yeah.
this waitress I had back when I was a manager, and in a quiet days, like what I used to do, because they liked it as a team
Yeah.
as well. I will like take the 1 or 2 bartenders I have on the bar and say, guys, do you mind like doing the 4 tables that you have? It's like 8, 10 people,
Yeah.
so it's super quiet. You guys jump on the floor from the bar, and I take the 2 waitresses from the floor and say, okay, you go behind the bar, I stay with you, I tell you like what ingredients to use, how to do everything, and the waitress will become the bartenders and the bartenders the
Exactly.
waitresses. And I had this waitress that came behind the bar one day, did the whole brunch, chill, she enjoyed it, started teaching her free pour, and after 6 hours behind the bar, she was doing drop pours and cross pours.
No.
I have
Cross balls as well.
yeah, cross,
Man,
drop.
I still struggle to do the drop balls.
And then when I left that venue, first she got moved from waitress to the bar.
Yeah.
And then when I left, she quit and she got a job as a bartender in a very nice company.
Right.
And
But yeah, some people have this
I'm-
potential.
that's what makes me happy. It's like giving some of my knowledge of the bits that I've been learning here and there to people that can take advantage from it and then like it, and
Yeah,
yeah,
exactly.
it's so satisfying.
Yeah, when you see people start from the bottom, like even yesterday, there was these two girls, which you worked with them as well. That they started out as waitresses and then they moved to the bar and had a very good teacher. She's called Francesca, but she was my supervisor when I started.
Yeah.
So
she was my flatmate.
Yeah, and my flatmate as well. But she was so perfectionist, and she was a very good teacher because she would not let anything slide. Like, I never forget one time I was
Sergeant
making
Fra.
yeah, I was making a classic gin martini, and the rules are you free pour cocktails, but anything in a mixing glass
you don't.
So you know, with the martini dry, I'm just gonna dash it, and then she just comes to me. She's like, "Next time I see you free pouring, I'm gonna chop your hands off." I was like, "All right, noted." But yeah, like, so for example, so how I started as a bartender, it's an interesting journey. So I was in year 9 and I was doing like this kind of course in IT. I wanted to work for Apple, but I was doing this internship in this like computer shop.
Okay.
And when I came, I wasn't really enjoying it that much because I didn't know that much anyway. I didn't know what I wanted to do in IT.
Fair enough.
So I lost my motivation to it and I just stopped doing it. And then I remember I was like quite depressed at home, knowing, okay, what should I do? Should I just stop going to school and just start working
Yeah,
in
in that
construction or
indecision
whatever?
period.
Yeah. And then my sister done something very interesting. Like she got me out of bed. She said, "No, right, you're gonna finish like year 12," and then she took me to where she went to school. And the options I had were like marketing and catering and bartending. And I was like, I was thinking about marketing, but I was like, let me do catering and bartending as a backup until I know what I want to do with my life.
Exactly.
Like that, I could just bartend or a waiter, but I wasn't really thinking much about bartending. So I started doing it. The waiter part was like, it was fun, but it wasn't like wow. And then the first year was pretty interesting. And then the second year I had this new teacher, like to kind of explain to us, and he was like a proper bartender mentality. He had the beard and everything. And then, you know, he'd do like a little trip with flair. He was a really cool, fun guy. Then he got us a bit more into it. And then I went to do my internship in this hotel in the Algarve, and I had to walk 1 hour to get there and 1 hour to come back. Now, I could have had a bicycle, but I kept getting punctures with it. So I started doing breakfast in the morning. All I'm doing is just carrying trays. I'm like carrying trays for like every day.
6, 8
like,
hours
right,
straight.
Yeah. And it's like, all right, you could do it. All right, I'm gonna polish cutlery now. So then I'm 4 hours polishing this cutlery.
These movements is like muscle memory. This and this.
Yes.
Oh my god! How many wine glasses?
And it's so polishing wine glasses is great. I love doing it. So I do
at some
all that.
point you find your inner peace into it goes from okay, this is not bad, then you kind of find the technique and get into the groove. After you get into the groove, you get into the bad part, which is realizing you bored and you're just doing the same thing. But at some point you just find your zen space, and after that it's gonna be all of your life. Like me now, for example, when I was a manager, there was needed to like polish something. I was like the happiest moment of my day is just jump on that and have 30 minutes of peace to myself. It just.
But you even notice it in movies. Every time in movies a bartender speaks to someone,
He's always doing something.
polishing a glass.
Polishing a glass.
Like, and they say it's so you have your hands busy.
Trick
you're
of
just
the
talking
trade.
to them.
Never look like you're not doing something because
Exactly.
it gets the guest nervous.
Yeah. So that's what I've done. Polished cutlery for ages, and then I didn't go to polishing glasses straight away. So then what happened was once in a while when I was in the evening shifts, the bar would need a bit of help in the hotel. So you're just doing waitering really in the bar, just getting empty glasses. But
maybe popping bottles of beer.
No, not even that. I didn't have that privilege. I'll just go behind the bar to put glasses to wash.
Okay.
So then the bar manager was really cool, really nice guy, and every time an intern used to help out, he used to always give us 5 or 10 euros tips so we could get a taxi back to our place.
Nice.
No one would ever do that. He would always do it, and that kind of gave you like a really cool thing. And I was eager to always go to that bar. and then I just every time make sure to do a good job so you could work in the bar.
Yeah, you can get called back.
And then the pool bar opened, so where we have our massive swimming pool, and then they chose me to go and do it, and I was like, okay.
Yes.
I wasn't making that. I was pouring pints, you know, like cutting lemons, making fresh orange juice every day.
I mean, India and Spain,
Yeah.
Portugal is not that developed as
Yeah.
a cocktail culture. So you don't actually do much unless you have the guy that comes and is like, I want an old fashioned. But it's
Exactly.
like 1 out of 1,000.
Yeah,
So it's
and
a
the
chill
pool
life.
bar, they just want to have like Aperols and all that.
Chill
And do you know
life.
what, I was 17, I shouldn't even be serving alcohol.
I mean, technically, I think you can after the
maybe
16.
Here
Here in
in the UK, you
UK,
can't.
here in the UK, no, actually
Yeah.
you can. Don't know if you remember when you did your personal license training, but basically
Long time ago.
there's this rule that basically you can have a 16-year-old behind the bar serving, but first of all you have to have written permission by their parents or legal tutor or whatever, and the second, every individual sale has to be authorized by an over 18 supervisor in
Right.
charge of them, so they can be serving on their own, having
Yeah.
a station, but then the person next to them needs to take every single payment for them and approve
Oh,
every
okay.
single payment for them, because they can process payments by themselves on their own.
That's interesting. Well, I had a guy who was a bar back. Sorry, he was in the servery. And he was 17. The minute he turned 18, I was like, right, you're doing the bar. And he's doing great. But yeah, so back to Portugal, like I'm in the pool bar, I'm enjoying it a lot. And then I finished the internship. I'm like, you know what, I like this bar thing. This bar thing's pretty cool. So then my dad had a friend who was opening a nightclub in the Algarve.
Nice.
And then I went there and I started to do a bit more like bartending, but I didn't know bartending. So I'll give you an example. So anyone thinks they've done something really embarrassing as a bartender, you're not going to beat me on this. So we opened, the DJ's there playing, and I'm like, I want to make a cocktail. So I asked the DJ if he wants a cocktail. So I did shake it, and I put like tequila, mango juice, some lemonade, something like that. So I put this all in the shake, and I shake it, and I pour it in a martini glass. But again, I'm a bit of an idiot still when it comes to cocktails. I don't know what's going on. So I put ice cubes in the martini
Ice cube.
glass, and I serve it to him, and he's drinking it with like ice in it. And of course, when I look back, I'm like, you fucking idiot. But yeah. So after that, like I'm doing that part-time, and I'm still working in the hotel. So sometimes Saturdays I wouldn't even sleep. I finish at like 10, and then go to the nightclub, and then work there until 7 a.m. And then at 9 a.m. I'm working again in the hotel on breakfast. So then I go back to my city, and it's summertime, and then I get a job in the shisha bar, and it was pretty cool and pretty fun. And I learned how to make a great shisha.
Shisha bars.
And then, you know, start getting more and more into influence. And then when it came to my last internship, it was still in the Algarve in Portugal, but this time it was a 5-star hotel.
Okay.
And I was staying in the hotel this time, so I didn't have to walk 1 hour.
Good stuff.
Everything was great. And I'm there and I was like, yeah, I'd like to, you know, work in the bar. And they say to me, well, interns don't work in the bar. And I'm like,
Okay.
all right, I'll give you a reason. So same thing, you know, breakfast, and I sometimes would show up on my day off. I'm just helping, and then all of a sudden, if the bar needed help, I'll make sure I'll be ready.
Jump.
And then I go, and then again, I'm just like doing more table service and bar backing. And then that team I had, they were great. They're all older than me. They bullied me a lot, which was very important for my career.
That's very
Yeah.
important, I think. Like,
Very,
if,
like,
if
make
I
me feel
hadn't been
comfortable.
bullied
Yeah.
by a lot of people in hospitality, I wouldn't be the
Mm.
person I am now.
Yeah, because your personality opens up. So like I go there, and then eventually I go full time into the bar. I'm like, great, I cracked it in. And they were really great people, really great workers. Like the guy we had the terrace, and which is just outside. And the guy that was working with me, he was about 45, 50 years old. He had a perfect memory, and he was a very good worker. So anyway, that goes all well. And then I'm like, okay, this is what I want to do. I want to be a bartender. So I'm just Googling, seeing what I could do to be a bartender, and then I stumble on EBS. I inquire about it, they call me, I'm like, I'll do it, go to EBS, have a great time there, and then I joined this restaurant called Tatton's. I stayed there for a year as a bartender.
How long did you stay in the hotel in Agave?
So
Last one.
my first internship was for 3 months, and then my last internship, it was from May until the beginning of September. So May, June, July, August, September. So 5-6 months, something like that.
Nice, very nice.
So yeah, because then I remember I'd done my EBS at the end of the month of September. So
Actually, I don't know if you remember, but like, is the feeling that I had when you start in hospitality. You start just like, okay, I know nothing, and then maybe you
And
do
you're
a
really
course.
shy.
Yeah, and you do a course like you did, or like for example, I did one in Spain about restaurant service and bar, and then I went to work to this hotel, and you start again just like you did the course and you feel like confident that you have all of that knowledge, and then you get into the real world, and again you're like, oh, I know
Calm
literally nothing
Yeah.
about this, and then you got 5 6 months into it, maybe like you go into a year working in like proper bar, and you're like, okay, now I'm confident. So it's
Yeah.
like I know my way around this, and then you move to London, and you get slapped in the face so badly, and all of your self-esteem goes to shit. It's just like, you think you are a good bartender? Wait for that Thursday night,
Yeah.
and then you're like,
That's true.
okay, I need to work hard here. And then the first Saturday night, it was like you do 12 hours, like you can't walk,
Yeah.
your feet
Your legs,
burn, your
mate.
arms hurt, and you just feel
It's
like
terrible.
you just feel like, I did this for a year, I thought it was good, and no.
Yeah, exactly. Quite a few good stories with you. One of my
One of,
the first time we worked together was a brunch.
yeah, I remember
I
that.
remember this one.
You came to help us out.
Came to help you out, and
From another venue.
I didn't have to go behind the bar, but I just remember you were just like, I mean, I just saw your arms non-stop, just shaking up and down, but that was really good fun. And then I remember when we used to go to be at one, and you know the nights of be at one, they were always crazy and insane.
Crazy nights at be at one, spend half of your salary on payday.
And you're getting 2 for 1 as well.
Yeah,
You're
you get
getting
it for one,
you're
which is
still gonna
worrying.
spend.
Yeah,
It's
my
terrible.
liver is not happy about that.
No. Like, I did drink for like 2 weeks, and then I went out, and I had 2 shots, 3 rum and cokes, and 2 cocktails, right? And when I'm saying it, it doesn't sound like a lot, but when you tell it to someone, they're like,
it was
"Bloody
like
hell."
slammed.
It's like your hardcore drinking is my Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday drink.
Yeah, no,
At some
that's
point, and
that's
we could
crazy.
repeat that for like 3 days in a row.
For
Or
yeah,
more.
a week. Yeah, no, it's crazy. And then some people just like go out with them, especially like going back to EBS, especially when I was going out with the students.
Oh, I remember, mate. I
That's the
remember
funniest
one
part
night.
because they're all like, oh yeah, let's go, and like we're gonna get smashed, I'm gonna drink so much tonight, and you're just looking at them like they're all puppies, they don't know what they're saying,
Yeah.
what they're doing, and I'm just like, okay, let's go. We arrived to the first place. I remember this particular night, it was not the night out with EBS, because usually first Friday you take all the students out
Yeah.
to bars and blah blah, but it was the day before, actually the Thursday.
You've done a pre, bloody hell.
And they
I wish I
stayed-
was in your course.
And they stayed at the hostel at the Generator, which I usually will go and just hang around with them,
Yeah.
like play beer pong or whatever. So they said, oh yeah, come over, blah blah. So I went over, bought a bottle of tequila, beer pong, blah blah, start drinking. And after we finished all the booze that we had, and we were being in the park and around, inside the Generator, I literally got at least 8-9 shots each student of tequila.
How are you?
I literally got everyone shit faced, but to the point that the day after, half of the class didn't turn up to school. Literally, and the half that turned up, like they half arrived at 8:30 in the morning, but looking like dead.
Yeah.
I was
They
the
probably
same.
didn't sleep.
I was on like 2 hours sleep. I was almost
You put them on
crying.
the proper bartending influence. Like,
That was like bartending camp, and the rest of the people was arriving like, oh, there he goes one at 9:30, like completely wrecked him. Was like, I'm late, I'm sorry. At some point it was like, yeah, it's okay, just come in and sit down and chill. And
but they need that.
most
they need that.
most of them, they didn't even want to go out the Friday. But then when we actually went out for the second day in a
Yeah.
row and to the proper night out, they understood that maybe is not the way to go, to just be like, oh yeah, let's go hardcore, blah blah blah. And of the whole group, there was only one guy that actually like was, well, not passed out, but like he got drunk, and at some
Yeah.
point I had to take him outside, get him some fresh air, some food, like
Yeah. I remember when
disposed of his internal fluids
it's
and
always
then
good, better
back
out
to the
than
bar.
in. Now I remember one of the nights. I don't know if it was that one, but I know it was probably a Friday or Saturday, and I was working, and then I just see you with like 30 people following you, and that reminds me. I was like, that's Athos,
Wow.
like a TBS night, because I remember that happening to me.
Yeah.
And I see all these new fresh bartenders. I'm like, all right, we've got the new generation.
Yes, night,
coming in.
and I'm like, yes, we're going to be at one Russell Street.
Yeah, and that's such a good place to
That's
do
the
your night.
place.
Man, God, I do you know what, I've got so many stories there. But
Too many.
yeah, man, one of my favourites was when it was the only time I ever had a tab going in beer one, and this is when I realised
Wow.
how much I drank. 2 for 1. Now,
Okay.
yeah, you know, I had friends that they put drinks on my tab, but then also they bought me drinks, and I went from 7 p.m. until last order's free, and I was pretty impressed with how I kept my alcohol. And my bill was £245.
What? Just.
Yes.
I mean, honestly, in BL1, especially I think because the relationship that we had,
It's
considering
so
we
fun.
were.
They
Yeah.
would make a cocktail behind a bar, right? And it's so fun to see. Like,
Classic,
it's fun. But I had this girl, it was her birthday, and she never bartended, but she had a shake that was so unique. Because usually when people shake, for example, like this,
Yeah.
like they'll do like this type of thing.
Yeah.
And, you know,
Up and down.
Yeah, and we say you got to shake like that.
Yeah.
This person, she was doing this, and then she starts doing this.
Yeah.
But she done it. I was like, have you shaken before? She's like, not really. And she says she used to do something similar to do with fishing, and she starts shaking like that. And I'm looking at it, I was like, that is fucking cool.
Nice.
But yeah, but when it came, I was a bit cheeky sometimes because you know, if I have someone's birthday, you can bring them behind a bar. So now I was like, all right, that girl's very pretty. So I
Let's
go to
bring
her,
her
I was
behind
like,
the bar.
If anyone asks, it's your birthday today, all right? And then yeah, it's like shake harder. It's very important. But my favourite thing is meeting. I finish work, and then I'll stay at work and have a drink, and then you meet people, and a lot of them have these office jobs, and they try to keep up with you with the drinks.
And yeah.
And I remember there was this girl. She worked in human resources, and I was with a friend of mine, and I was finished work. I was having a drink, and then I saw these 2 girls order a drink at the bar, and then for some reason they pointed at me. And I already had like 2 glasses of wine. I had wine that day, I don't know why.
Wine
And,
is a dangerous
yeah.
game to play.
And I go to the bartender, I'm like, you can tell the girls if they want to talk to me, they can just come to me. As a joke. When they literally came in, I'm like, alright.
No,
Then I
that's-
start talking with them. And then one of my friends had just finished work and he came to the bar and he sees me talking to 2 girls. And he's Italian, he's like, Vito, it's 2 against 1. And I'm like, alright. So I'm talking to this girl, having a good time. And then he joins in. And then the minute he joins in, the other girl that I wasn't talking to that much, they start making out straight away.
Wow.
And then me and this other girl, I'm still talking with her, and then she says, oh my God, I went out and I drank so much. So I'm like, what do you drink? So we just had like a bit of Prosecco, we had 2 glasses of Prosecco, and then I think I had like a porn style martini, and then a Negroni, and then we all done a shot of tequila. And then I'm like, yeah, and then what next?
And?
Like, it's like, what was it? No, that was it. And I'm like, I'm thinking it's like, is that the only thing you're doing? But then at the same time, I'm thinking it's like, fucking hell, that's a lot.
That's, I mean, if you think about it, it's
That's
like
nothing for what
it's
we
like
do.
a unit per beer, for example. A Negroni, roughly 40 ABV spirit is a unit. Negroni is like a shot each, so that's like 2 units / 3 for the Negroni, maybe 1.5 for the porn star or 1, but you're literally having like, with that amount that you just said, probably you have 7. I don't know, just the top of my head, 7 units. Recommended for a week is 14. So
Exactly.
so
like,
you know,
like,
and
you hit
that
your
sounds
yearly limit in 1 week if you go out with the right people.
with the right bartender, yeah. 100%.
Absolutely. Like this didn't catch on video, but to say quickly, when I had the shots of, so I went to this bar, I finished late at night, and I wanted to catch up to the rest of the people, so I ordered 3 shots of absinthe. So I go speak with the bartender, order 3 shots of absinthe, and he's like, okay, and then he's looking around, and he's like, oh, we're your friends. I'm like, just me, mate. So he pours me 3 shots. I had the first shot, like a champion, no problem.
Yeah,
I
the
used, to
first
be, I used to
one.
be very good with shots as well back in the day.
The first one is always like is the courage one.
Yeah.
You get it and you're like, you hold it.
Yeah.
It's alright, and then
The
here
second
comes the
one.
aftertaste.
The second one is like Mike Tyson just punches you in the chest, and I like take a step back and like this. The bartender's like, "Are you okay?" And I'm
And
like,
it starts being really whoa.
"Yeah." The build up. I go outside. I try to control myself.
Nah.
I have a
Before
beer.
that, you have the third one,
Wait, no. I have a beer first,
and
and
then
then,
you have the third
I
shot.
have the third one. But yeah, but to be honest, I've seen. Oh man, there was this guy. This was during COVID, and this guy was so funny. So he was with 5 people in one table, and they had this package. So they had like 10 martinis between the 5 of them,
Yeah.
a bottle of I think they had Grey Goose, and then
Yeah.
they bought a bottle of Absolute. So they drank the bottle of Absolute first. They ordered shots of tequila. We had to take 4 of them out because they were too drunk, and then the other guy was there,
Potentially intoxicated.
potentially intoxicated, and then the other guy, he was actually alright. So we had to kick him out, and then he just sat there at the table with a bottle of vodka, martinis. They had beers. He shot tequila, and mate,
He's just there,
he's just sitting
around,
down,
looking
holding a
around.
drink, looking at everyone, and then we come up to him, was like, he's gonna leave soon. You're alright, mate? He's like, yeah, I'm good, mate. I'm good.
I'm
I'm
living the
good.
dream.
He's like, I'm good. And then we're just watching him, and mate, he's drinking. Every time he goes to the toilet, we're making sure that he's okay. And then he goes to the bar, and we think, all right, he's gonna ask for a tap water. And then he goes, can I get a pint? And said, sorry, we only do bottled beers. All right, so can I have just 3 shots of tequila? And he has the 3 shots of tequila. And then
Madness.
he leaves, and he still had drinks to have, and he leaves. And then his mates had already left. The guy goes outside, and I went to him and I said, mate, you are absolutely incredible, the way you handled your drinks. And I said, like, what's your secret? And the guy went to me, I've been a bartender since I was 14. I'm like, all right,
Like, fair enough.
now we know. Okay,
No,
but
no,
to be honest,
no.
I've never seen someone who could drink as much as
I
he could.
think it's hard to see people drinking that much.
Yeah.
Probably I remember this very clearly. I remember this guy. This was like after I left management. Went back to Barbican for like a month. That was the
Yeah.
most beautiful month ever.
I
Peace
bet.
of mind. You know, everyone was like, "Oh, I'm sorry that like you have to be in this position, blah blah. Don't worry, we'll get you to the bar soon." I'm like, mate, like
I'm alright.
I'm living the dream. Glasses don't complain. The cats don't,
Yeah.
like don't slur, don't scream at me. Like I just go around. If I do delivery, I'm even with the music I like going around, just putting the boxes, making my OCD happy and putting everything in order. You know,
Yeah,
living the
deliveries
dream.
were great when you have like your time there.
Living the dream. And then I go to the bar, and there's this guy that arrives like I don't know 2 p.m.
Yeah.
on the bar. Is like I'm waiting for a friend. He sits at the bar in front of my station. It's super quiet. So it's like, oh, what are you drinking? I was like, oh, I really like bourbon, blah blah. I was like, okay. So I guess you'll go for something like an old fashioned, maybe Boulevard. Yeah, it's like, yeah, old fashioned, like classic. Just go with it. Okay, cool. Woodford, yeah, Woodford, blah blah. Make old fashioned. Boom. It's like I go around, go smoke a cigarette, come back. It's like 10 minutes gone. He's finished the old fashioned. Yeah. He's waiting for me to come back. I come back and the guy goes, just make me another
They
one.
do the
please."
rotating sign.
Yeah, it's like, please another one. I was like, cool, let's go. And that's already 2:30. It's not his second one. Like almost finished. It's like, look at it. It's like, go. This scene keeps going on like every 15-20 minutes as the crowd builds up. It's like the bar gets busier and busier. This guy left my station like at 9 p.m. His friend arrived like at 5 or 6.
Yeah.
Before his friend arrived, the guy drank by himself at least 10 old fashioned in my face. And then from 6 until 8, 9, they kept drinking, and this guy was going straight on old fashioned. He drank like 15, 16 old fashions in my face. And I was like, you know when you're a
about 2
bartender,
bottles of bloody bourbon.
it's a bottle, 14 doubles. 14
Oh, yeah,
doubles,
you're right,
probably a
14
little
doubles,
over
yeah.
a bottle. But then you need to consider, when you're a bartender, you have someone that you have a nice relationship with, like a guest that you're like, oh yeah, you like bourbon, this and that. Just give that extra touch, bar owners. I'm sorry. I'm very sorry. I know it's something you shouldn't do for the stock
Hey.
and blah blah blah, but
It's still
hey,
fine.
it's hospitality. Okay, it's hospitality. It's not like I'm a robot and it needs to be 50 ml spot on. There's the cunt that give him 40 and the nice guy that
Well, that's
give
why
him
we
60.
have a wastage option.
Yeah,
Anyway.
exactly. That's
Yeah.
why there's a way to cover. But yeah, it's
Yeah.
it's more than a bottle, and considering they even put more than I should,
Yeah.
this guy drank a bottle and a half of bourbon by
Easily.
himself.
But it's good when you know the bartender. Like, so you know the American bar, Savoy, which
Yeah.
is the #1 bar in the world.
Beautiful.
It's everything a bar should be. The music, the atmosphere, the cocktails. They've got the most expensive cocktails.
There's
in the world.
one thing I hate.
Ooh, are you sure
I'm
you want to tell
sorry.
me this?
Yeah, I'm sorry.
It
I'm
might be
sorry.
the last time you're going to be on the podcast.
I know, but
Go for it.
I'm gonna show it just because I mean
No, go for it, though.
it looks classy. I have to say it looks classy. It looks beautiful. It gives you the kind of prestige sense. But mate, if you're a bartender and work with a white jacket and a white shirt and a white bow tie, you're just looking for trouble. You're just looking for trouble.
Okay,
you
you're
know?
absolutely right on that. Mate,
It looks pretty.
Mate, yesterday when I was working behind the bar, white shirt, espresso martini, all of a sudden, oh look, I've got a few spots now. Yeah, you're right. The white is the worst thing to wear.
I remember my supervisor when I arrived to London, when he got promoted into management, I got promoted as a supervisor. And he always, as a manager, used to come like behind the bar and he will always take off the blazer.
Yeah.
And it will be, most of the time he will not wear a three-piece. It will be like just with a white shirt behind the bar. And every time he will walk behind the bar with a white shirt, I will take blackberries or raspberries from the garnish tin and just go like, hey mate, how are you? And just tap on his back. And at some points, like 10 seconds later, because of course it takes like a bit for the shirt to get wet with all the juice and the blackberry. And after it would be like, but the hair, I was like, see the color and just be like, I'm gonna kill you.
Yeah.
I was like, it's too busy. Like, you need to wait until we close and then we talk about it.
But just say, no, I finish at 2 a.m, so you're too late.
No, yeah, white shirt is
Yeah.
suicide.
No, it is. But when I went to Savoy, they had a great introduction when I was there the first time. And I love the place. And I used to go like once every 2 weeks. And they used to always have an old fashioned with a different type of rum. And then I remember one time I saw a Sipsmith vodka. And I was like, I was very curious about that. And I was like, oh, let me see it. Oh, do you want to try it? So the bartender's like, oh, try it. And he doesn't give me like a 5 ml, he gives me 25 ml.
Yeah,
to
it's
taste.
a shot.
And then after that, I become curious about everything. I'm like, oh, what is that bottle there? Is that rum? Yeah, bring it on, mate.
Yeah, I wonder what? Bacardi, what's that?
Yeah, exactly. I got really curious, mate. And yeah, and I call it research night. So Battersea Power Station opened up and they have this bar called Control Room B.
Okay.
And you know, I was getting things ready for this podcast, and it's an amazing bar. We really need to go there.
Yeah,
it's
we'll have to.
it's part of Inception Group of Mr. Fox.
Okay.
But the bar is amazing. I had a coffee called a Battery Liquor, which is amaretto. I think it was amaretto rum, orgeat, if I'm not mistaken, and espresso. It was really, really nice. Like absolutely amazing. And I was like, okay, this is good. All right, let me see what else. I left. I had 8 drinks, and I was sitting down. I had 8 drinks. The minute I got up, I like tripped on my way out. It was so funny.
It's classic.
Yeah.
The minute you get
And
up.
now the next subject is somebody is going to Qatar to
Wow.
bartend for the World Cup. I wonder who that is.
Yeah, that's a very crazy
Yeah.
story. I mean, it's all about the contacts you make in the
Yeah.
end. As we were saying, you met a lot of people on the bar, and then at some point you get always that friend. But actually, this is interesting because first I got the message from my old AGM who trained me and taught me a lot of things. It was like, well, just in case if you're bored, like they're looking for staff to go in Qatar and like work for a month. I was like, yeah, maybe if I don't see anything, I'll just go. But I wasn't really planning on to, especially because I started working now part-time in Mayfair in a place that I really like the team, and they give me the flexibility to like be able to do my competitions and
You're
still
like
take care
the
of the
Elon Musk
company.
of bartenders, mate. You've got like 8 different
I
projects at the
wish.
same time. So go on.
I wish. But yeah, I was like, I don't want to leave. Like I just started there, and then another friend texted me. I was like, I'm going to Qatar with these other friend that you know, and these other friend that you know, and like, can you come with us? And I was like, thinking more about it and more about it, and then I spoke with the guy in charge of the project. It's like super last minute. Like, it's an island that they're building for the World Cup, for the fun.
Jesus Christ.
Like, literally, they're building an island. There's the fun zone.
Just for the World Cup.
Yeah, no, yeah. There's literally, I'll show you. It's called Ketaifen Beach. Like, they made the festival just for the fun, like, for the fans, for the, like, this, they're building it just for that. And it's just for the
mate,
fun area. You know where I'm gonna stay?
Are you gonna come back though?
That's my hotel. That's the hotel where I sleep. Okay? For staff.
Mate, I need a...
And they said, is it like, how, I was like, okay, it's gonna be something crazy, like 7 days a week, 60, 70 hours, like something mad. And then I started talking with them, they say, no, it's actually like, in the beginning it was 7 days, but then when they sent the contract, it was actually, no, you have 1 day off a week, like guaranteed, 100%,
Really?
10-hour shifts. And
10-hour
like,
shifts
and
as
I'm
well?
like, 10-hour shifts. I was like, that's not bad. Like, that's
You're
60
thinking-
hour. And then they say, no, you have half an hour break for lunch. And then on top of that, you have 2 half-an-hour breaks. Because it's a Muslim country. So you got those breaks for prayer.
Ah.
So you have like one in the noon and like one later on.
That's
And then you have
pretty good,
one to it. So I have 1.5 hour break every day.
Bloody hell.
Work 10 hours.
You used to do
Shift
12 hours
patterns
with
are,
no breaks.
yeah, or more. There's shift patterns are quite good. Like
Yeah.
12 is like like a broken shift. So you do like 12 till 6 and 8 till
Oh, yeah.
12, or you do like
Split shifts. I think.
4 till 2, or you do like 6 till 4.
Yeah.
But it's like mostly you can wake up in the morning, go chill around, explore a bit, and then go work at 12 to 4 or 6. Man,
Good.
2,000 euros, and you're like, okay, if you change it to pound and everything, it's not that much money, really. It's
Yeah.
more for the experience.
Yeah.
But then
Oh,
if you
absolutely.
think about it, they're paying for my flight. That's already £1,000
Yeah.
return, and that's a lot of money. And then the accommodation, and you're like, that hotel for a month, it's not cheap.
That'll cost you your rent for a year, or maybe more actually.
Yeah, and then you go like, and plus they're gonna come and pick me up on the airport and bring me to the hotel, pay for all the transportation during the whole month,
Yeah,
pay
it's
for
gonna
all
be-
my
it's
food.
no-brainer,
So it's not about the money in the end.
Yeah.
As most of the times when you go to a place and
Yeah,
they're like,
true.
how much do you want an hour? And you're like, I don't really care. Like, it's not gonna make the difference in my life that you give me 13 or 14 or 15. Like that two. If you do 40 hours, it's £200 more for £1 pay rise.
You'd rather get 12 and be happy than getting 15
Yeah,
and being miserable.
because if you give me £200 more a month, that's not gonna make me rich. That's not gonna pay my pension when I retire. You know, so
Yeah.
who cares about
But
that?
still, how are you going to feel charging because I was checking the prices of the drinks in Qatar. How are you going to feel like charging someone £150 for a glass of wine? Bloody hell, man.
Honestly, knowing the money that they have, I don't.
That's
mind.
peanuts, yeah.
I don't mind. I'm actually, well, is for example in the contract you can get anything guaranteed on this, but this is like a topic that is very interesting from the outside. Is like tips. In a
gonna be
in a bad bar you get like £10 a week. Especially if you're not good, like you get shit. You get nothing. In a good place, even if you're not good, you make your 50, 100 a week. If you're a good bartender and like chat with the guests and like give that extra experience, easily in a decent place you get 50, 100 quid per shift on tips, which it starts to be interesting. Some places with a big like
And don't forget what you're going to
name.
be doing, mate, because you're going to Qatar for the World Cup. you're not just going to bartend, you're going to show your Athos personality, which is the flaring, the jokes, and everything. And mate, a lot of people are going to appreciate that.
Exactly.
Like,
That's what I like.
Yeah.
Right now, I'm in a super comfortable position because when I go to work, I go, stay behind the bar. I chose to have the least responsibilities ever when I have a very wide understanding of the industry. So I never find myself in a hard situation behind the bar because I know how it works. So before it comes, I see it coming. I don't let it happen.
Yeah, exactly. It's
And
like you learn to run, but now you don't need to run anymore. You could walk. If you need to run, you'll run.
and now I just go behind the bar, enjoy myself. I'm spend my time dancing, joking with people, throwing stuff around just because I like it, just to have fun. And I see people there enjoy it, they have fun and they like it. I'm just giving an experience to the guests, but I don't even have to try. I don't have to put effort.
Yeah.
That's the best part.
I don't understand people that
just
do
be
hospitality.
myself.
It's like when they say they're not a people person, like why are you in this industry then? I love people.
I mean, I'm not a people person. Like, I'm not the kind of guy who would.
You say that, but you are though.
I'm a people person on my heart, but in my mind, I have too many self-confidence issues and like I'm
hide
not
it very well.
Yeah, no. Hospitality taught me a lot
Yeah.
on how to hide it and how to interact with people and just be confident. But in the end, I'm not that much of a people's person. Like, I'm not the kind of guy that goes to a guest and start doing small talk with no reason. Like, I can stay
The difference is people
hours.
approach you a lot. And this is what I was actually going to get to. Is like I remind you of this and you forget about it. Like, you got 22,000 people following you, and I know for you don't care, but you know that you are literally. And this is why I wanted to have you. Like, you're inspiring the next generation of bartenders. How many bartenders do you think are now flaring because of you? Which is great to see.
I hope a few. But that's not the goal. I mean, it makes me happy, but that's not the goal in the end.
So just before we go as well, because I want to talk about one of your a lot of projects. So you had the Mercenaries, which is a very great, exciting project, which they're partners with us, which is really great to hear as well. So for people who don't know about Mercenaries, just explain to Life Behind Bars about that.
Yeah, so basically Mercenaries, was when actually that period when I left management, went back to Barbeck, and I connected with Samuele, which was a guy working for the same company at the time. And he kind of had left the full-time bartending, and he like made this bet on like promote himself or push himself, or was going around bars, going to offices, anywhere, just dropping the CV and be like, guys, if you ever need a bartender for an event, you need to do a masterclass, or you have a wedding, or you have, I don't know, a festival or something, and you need stuff,
kind of like freelance bartending.
call me. And so I went and started doing this freelancing, and it started building up and building up and building up. So after a few months, he found himself in the situation where he was actually busy, like proper busy. He couldn't take all the shifts that he was getting. So I set up a WhatsApp group and started putting, as you know, like all the bartenders that you know, that you go to see when you finish working, or the guys that you trust from your team that you like to work with.
Bartenders.
Exactly. He started creating this, like, let's say, staff group. But just with like, it's just like WhatsApp group of friends of, man, I just have this. If you're interested in it, this is the contact, send him the number, and you can go make some easy money, have some fun. So it started like that, and then he added me to the group, and I started talking with him. I told him, like, I thought it has a lot of potential, and he was interested in like developing the idea more and more, and we started like making a plan of like developing the website and starting to get more serious and push more for the events, adding more people to the group. At some point we got to like 130 or something like that. It was like
it was
big,
crazy,
big force.
But the great thing about the Mercenaries group, from what I saw, was from the bartenders I recognise, and I know you know a lot of people that I know, but you picked the people that you knew are bartenders that know how to do the job,
and especially they have the right vibe, because in the end, when you go to do events, it's all about you arrive, you don't have a bar. there's not a team. That's why they called you to save the situation. And you arrive, and maybe all you have is a table. All you have is a wooden table, and that's it.
Yeah.
And you need to be okay. Then I'm gonna call this company, order 200 kilos of ice, buy 2 plastic buckets, giant buckets, fill them with ice, fill them with beers and wine, so everything is nice and chilled. It's like you kind of have to battle through it.
Yeah,
but
that's
at
like
the
when
same
you start from the
time,
bottom because you know what you need to do.
but you have fun. You have no one telling you how to do things, because the client will always tell you, this is what I need. The client will never tell you, you do things this way, because that's why they called you, because they trust you and they say, I've seen you working. Most of the times what happens is that, for example, I go to a wedding with someone, with the guys, and one of the friends of the groom comes to us or goes to the groom and says, please give me the contact of these guys because I have my wedding next year.
Nice.
and I want these guys to be there. But it's literally by word of mouth.
Yeah.
And by word of mouth, we've ended up like running the bar for the pop-up hotel in Glastonbury.
Yeah, I heard about that. Yeah,
that was mental.
You guys done the carnival as well, didn't you?
We done Notting Hill Carnival with in collaboration with Laylo and Ray and Nephew. That was as well massive. With Laylo as well, we've done just Halloween 2 weeks ago. It was massive party as well.
I'm sure now in Christmas as well. You guys
it's going very well. After Notting Hill, we've just decided to slow a bit down because it was growing and growing and growing. So we said, slow down, clear out some people of the group, the people that have left the country, blah blah, and then we're working more on admin stuff. So it's like getting the website spot on and doing like terms and conditions for the clients and all of that. We have a lot of events like coming through, but we're trying to take less but good right now, rather than try to take everything. And like we've done that for the whole year last year. We've like just get seen from everyone. Now we want just to make sure everything we do is 100% spot on and just give a very good impression. And I mean, we have bookings for 2023, 22. I have a wedding for 2024 booked in already. That was like the guy sent the message. I was like, how do you expect me to say yes to this? Imagine I tell you yes now and I give you a price, and then everything goes up in cost. Like imagine in 2 years, and it's like my bottle of tequila costs the double of the price. Like I can't give you a price from now in 2 years. You know.
Yeah, but I think you really are heading in the right direction. And like now that I've now got my free time, I can't wait to join you guys soon as well.
Yeah, that's gonna be fun.
But look, for anyone who wants to, I know you already got too many requests, but there'll be a link in the description if anyone wants to.
If you want to join the team,
join the team as well, guys. And so look, I think it's going to go great for you. And I really wish you the best luck for the podcast. Sorry, for the World Cup.
Well, and
sorry, Italy's not going to be there. Yeah, it's been going really good. Support's been very good as well.
It's a brilliant idea. I've loved it since you talked about it the first times, and I mean you worked so hard on it. Like you can tell you've been always on it, excited, like been what can I do this better or that better? I should get this. I should get that. I should like sending the pictures in the group. It's like guys, you like this, blah blah. I don't know, it's something nice that you're doing for the community without asking anything back, just because you like it, just out of your passion, and that's why it feels right. That's why it feels like it's gonna go well, because you're not doing it for money. You're doing it literally because you want to give your bit to the community of bartending, and that's the beautiful part of it.
Thanks. Yeah, I mean I think we all kind of owe it to them. But I was having a conversation with a friend who said if someone would try to buy your podcast for like 200,000, would you take it? I'm like, no. And at the end of the day, I think, especially after the pandemic, we don't get that many people that want to be bartenders. And it's a shame, because a lot of people that even just do bartending as a part-time job whilst they're in uni, when they're 70 years old and they look back, they're going to see their bartending time.
So many memories.
Mate, I've got so many you can't count off. Like, it's absolutely incredible. So yeah, look, the goal of this is really...
Some of my students say that the month in EBS was the best month of their life. So
yeah, man, I can say that as well. Like, yeah. So hopefully we can inspire the next generation, and you know, we've got a very good lineup of guests coming along. Like,
can't wait for that.
Yeah, so it's funny. We're recording actually the first well, this is the first recording I'm doing, but Sam will be number one. And then we'll get you out as well, and then we'll see. I mean, I've got a lot of people coming, even out of the country as well.
I'll find out in Qatar, I guess.
Yeah, as well. And I'm going to be following you, we'll be promoting you. So, guys, if you want to see Athos in Qatar, just follow his Instagram. Link will be in the description below. Also, for the Mercenaries bartenders, that'll be also there. And of course, guys, especially for the bartenders, when you have like a really busy Saturday, Friday, or you're just hungover from the day before and you need something to carry you throughout the day, you just do what we always do. You just get a lovely Gold Rilla energy drink.
Actually, I didn't.
It's the first time you had them today. Actually,
I didn't know about this. This is first can I have ever had, as every bartender, and it's very bad, but energy drinks are part of our diet. This is something that if there's any like. How do you say medicines?
What, medication?
No, medicines like the person that does the job. Doctors. If there's any doctors watching the podcast, I know you're gonna just hate me. Since I'm 17, I've had most probably, with some exceptions, a can a day of Monster. And I know you're gonna say, go to the hospital. You have cancer, you have 2 years left of life if that's what you've been doing for the past 6 years. Yes, I know, but literally when you're hungry, you just wake up and you're on 2 hours sleep, you have a can of this and you don't feel hunger, you're good. You can go out for another 12 hours.
I remember I was opening the bar as a manager one time, and we had the first bartender in at 9 AM, and I just see this bartender, it's a massive energy drink. And this is like 8:30 in the morning.
Yeah.
Like, what are you doing? And then she just goes to me, she's like, breakfast. And that's how it gets.
What are you doing? Breakfast. Classic breakfast in London. Yeah. There's a Monster meal deal from Tesco.
Meal deal.
A sandwich, probably a smoked ham and cheddar, or deli meat fist, and then
once you finish your drink, you show your industry card of be at one. Lovely. Well, Athos, again, thank you very much for coming.
Thank you.
And thank you for the mezcal. And good luck in the World Cup, since Italy's not going to be there.
Ouch.
Yeah.